Okay, hello. We're going to have another session now on the Nakshatra gods. So I'm going to read from and explain the second half of my book, Nakshatra, the Authentic Heart of Vedic Astrology. If you like this stuff, pick up a copy of the book. You can get it on Amazon.com. You just search Viśākhā Nakshatra or something like that. So, title is Nakshatra, the Authentic Heart of Vedic Astrology, and let's pick up where we left off. So actually today, we're finally going to finish up really focusing on Indra. This is kind of now the end of the story about Indra. It's tying up some loose ends. So today we're going to hear an interesting bit about Indra's interaction with Krishna and just a word about Indra himself and why these stories are so unexpected. So everything that you learn about Indra applies to Indra's nakshatras, which primarily is Jeshtha, but also has some effect or echo in Viśākhā Nakshatra. Okay, so let's get started here. So this is the section called Jealousy and Suspicion. It's page 181. All right, so Indra, remember, if you're following this series at all, if you have the book, you definitely remember. Indra usurped Varuna's position. Varuna was the original king of the gods. Indra took over. So Indra constantly worries that someone will do the same to him. That's the thing. That's called Atmavan Manyate Jagat. The way that you think is the way that you experience the world. So if you're a thief, you always feel like somebody's going to steal from you. If you're a liar, you always feel like people are lying. If you're a cheater, you see other people as cheating. If you're a businessman, then you claim that other people are businessmen. So Indra is an usurper, so he always expects that he's going to get usurped. And actually, that is what happens, isn't it? Because that's how karma works. So he's quite worried. So he's carefully watching all the time. That's why he's jealous or suspicious all the time. That's why he had zero tolerance for Vishvarupa, the priest who came from his enemy's camp to come and help him. Vishvarupa, the three-headed boy. Remember that from 2 weeks ago? So he's very suspicious and jealous. So he's carefully watching powerful people. Whenever he sees a powerful person, he tries to mess them up. He doesn't want people to become too powerful. So this is the thing. You got to watch out for this tendency in you. The tendency to be big as a result of making people small is not really the right way to be big. You be big by being big, not by making other people smaller than you. That just keeps you the same size. So anyway, Indra doesn't want anybody else to get close to being as powerful as he is. So he's also keeping his eye on yogis. Because when you hear yogi, you think, wow, this person is spiritual. But when a story in the Veda describes somebody a yogi, it doesn't mean spiritual. It means that they're using the technology of yoga to get what they want. Some of them are doing it to get enlightenment and emancipation and moksha, but not all of them. Some of them are doing it to get powerful armies and kingdoms. So Indra's got his eyes on people that are doing yoga as well, because he doesn't want them to become powerful through that technology. So whenever he sees that a yogi is getting really good at disciplining the mind, controlling the senses, he sends temptations. So there's so many stories where Indra is sending people from his ladies from his court to go and tempt the male yogis and stuff like that. Now, Brahmins, they become powerful by doing yoga. Kings, they don't really have what it takes to be able to do that kind of discipline. But what they do is they do sacrifices and rituals. So he's also keeping his eyes on who's doing what rituals. Indra is always watching who's doing rituals. So when he sees a king that's really successfully doing a lot of rituals and getting more and more powerful, he usually sends something to screw up the ritual. In fact, there's a famous king, like kind of the the story of the original king is King Prithu. And Indra actually interfered with Prithu's yagyas, Prithu's sacrifice. And it's actually quite famous how Indra did this. Indra became famous as the first hypocrite. So this is also a thing you need to look out for. If you have Jeshtha, or if you're dealing with people in your life that are Jeshtic people, not to be a hypocrite. So Indra is the first hypocrite because what he did was he dressed himself as a sadhu. He dressed himself as a saint or as a tyagi or renunciate, though he wasn't, right? So but he put on this costume as that he was this great tyagi and Brahmin sadhu so that he could get into the sacrifice. Then when he got into the sacrifice, he put all kinds of garbage all over the sacrificial altar to spoil the ceremony. I believe. That detail may be wrong. I may have my details wrong on exactly how he messed up the ceremony. Anyway, so he got into trouble with Prithu. Prithu's son tried to kill Indra when he saw that happen. But Indra actually managed to escape. Now, not only does he... Prithu, by the way, is an avatar of Vishnu. Not only does he get in... So Indra's even getting jealous of Vishnu. And actually, he even gets in trouble with Krishna twice. There's two big stories, so let's talk about those. First one is very famous. You might have seen pictures of Krishna lifting up a hill or a mountain on his finger, and that's the story of Indra. So, when Krishna was very young, like 6 or 7, he persuaded the village not to worship Indra. Now you might think, oh, this sounds like a Christian thing where the God is saying, don't worship this other God, worship me. He did not persuade them not to worship Indra, worship me. He just said, don't worship Indra, be practical. So Krishna was asking his dad, why are you working so hard? What are you doing right now? And his dad said, we're preparing this ceremony for Indra. And Krishna said, why? And then the dad said, you're not going to understand this. You're too young. And Krishna said, if you don't educate me, I'll never understand. So then the dad started explaining. And everybody gathered around. And then the dad explained, if you worship Indra, then you get rains. And we're farmers. So if we get rains, then we get crops. And if we get crops, then we have food. And then we can also trade and get all wonderful things. So Krishna said, does anybody do this sacrifice in the ocean? Because it rains in the ocean too. And he says, actually what you're doing here is you're worshiping somebody to give you rain so that you get food. But what you're doing right now is you're taking all these piles of food and you're going to burn them and sacrifice them to Indra. Why don't you just be practical? You already have the food. So Krishna, and he's like a young boy, like 6, 7 years old. So their eyes are getting bigger and bigger, heart eyes, looking at Krishna being so philosophical as a little boy. And Krishna says, why don't you worship the earth? The earth is the one that's giving you the food. And it's right here. And why don't you worship the cows? Because they're giving you milk. And why don't you worship the teachers that are teaching you right from wrong in philosophy? So he went on this list. And so he actually convinced everybody not to do this Indra Yagya, but instead to use all the resources they had to worship the earth, the teachers, the cows, etc. Right? So when Indra found out about that, let me see, get back to the text. So Indra was very insulted. So he retaliated. He said, oh, you don't want to worship me? I'm going to wreck you. So he drowned the village. He sent a huge storm to drown the village. But everybody was then like, Krishna, we listened to you, and now look what happened. We're gonna flood. So Krishna said, it's not a problem here. I'll just make a big umbrella. And he picked up the hill that was nearby the village. And he said, get underneath this for a couple of days. And then Indra's, the story is very long and super cute and very interesting. But in the end, Indra realizes, well, what, a boy just picked up a mountain? Who's this boy? So in the end, he realized that the boy Krishna was Vishnu avatar. So he came running and he apologized. right? And then actually Krishna was not really too interested in forgiving him, but because Krishna loves cows, and Indra brought his famous cow Surabhi, and Krishna got a little soft-hearted and actually forgave him. So you think, okay, Indra learned his lesson, but he didn't. So a few decades later, Krishna had grown up. Remember, Indra knows it's the same Krishna, so now he even knows he's right. He's not an ordinary human. He's Vishnu. He still gets into trouble with Krishna. So here's that story. This incident began when an asura named Naraka infiltrated paradise and humiliated Indra by stealing his mother's magic earrings and his own royal umbrella. So those are two symbols associated with Jeshtha Nakshatra, right? Earrings and umbrellas. Indra has magic earrings that protect him. His mother has these magic earrings that protect her, and he has a special royal umbrella. Every king has a royal umbrella, but he has a super special magic one. Naraka Asura, all the Asuras want to get back at Indra, so Naraka Asura was really, really powerful. He came in and he just came into paradise and stole these things as an insult. Now, Indra didn't really want to go and fight Narakasura because Narakasura was really strong. So he requests, and he knows that Krishna is there. He's manifest now as an avatar. So he asks Krishna to take care of this problem for him. And he also asked Krishna's wife. This is a story, like, you know how the Vikings always have, what's her name? The shield maiden, Ragnar, and I can't believe I forget her name now. You know that Ragnar's famous love. Anybody remember it? Type it in the chat. The name of the famous Viking woman. So, Vikings have these famous stories of how the women are actively on the front lines engaged. Well, it's also in Hindu stories as well. Here's the story where Satyabhama, Krishna's queen Satyabhama, was actually the one that killed Narakasura. And the reason is that Narakasura was a rapist. He was a big violator of women. So Satyabhama got the honor of killing him to vindicate womanhood, right? So Krishna and Satyabhama, they killed Naraka, and they took back the earrings and the umbrellas. Then they went to paradise to give them back to Indra. So when they gave the things back to Indra, they're there in paradise. Indra is like inviting them to stay, enjoy the place a bit, enjoy the gardens. So as they're strolling around the gardens, Satyabhama notices this really beautiful tree in Indra's garden. And she says, "Wow, where did he get that tree?" to Krishna. And then Krishna said that tree is one of the many treasures that came out of the ocean a long time ago. So you probably know the story about the ocean that's associated with Rahu and Ketu. How they actually stirred up this ocean to get things to be produced. And some amazing things came out, and this tree is one of the things that was produced. Right? So that's what Krishna said. Now, Satyabhama says, well, it came out of the ocean, right? So it should stay near the ocean. It should be on Earth. Why is it up here in Swargaloka? And the god, why does Indra have it? He's a god, but the gods didn't churn the ocean. The gods and the asuras together churned the ocean, right? So it shouldn't be stuck in the god's place. It should be shared. Everybody should be able to get to it. That was Satyabhama's logic. So Krishna said, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I agree. So he pulled out the tree and began to take it down to Earth. Down, up, wherever, sideways to Earth, to the Earth plane. Now, Indra's guards, of course, are going to protest. The garden police are like, "Yo, what's going on? You can't take that tree." So Satyabhama just starts laying into them, ridiculing them. "Pah, you're gonna tell us what to do?" And she starts ridiculing Indra. Right? We're the guys that did what your so-called boss couldn't even do. and you're going to tell us to stop because we better be scared of your Indra. So she said, let Indra come right here now and fight with us. So Indra is a little bit backed into the corner there. He's the king, but now he's getting publicly insulted by Satyabhama and challenged to a fight. So he's got to come out and fight. So Indra says, look, he might be Vishnu, but now he's behaving like a human. He's an avatar and he's playing the role. It's called Nar Leela. So he should be behaving like a human and not like Vishnu. So he shouldn't be behaving like he's superior to me. So I'll put him in his place. So he took his lightning bolt, the famous lightning bolt that from Dadichi's bones that he killed Vritra with, and he called the gods like Agni and everybody to come help him. And all of them came rushing out to attack Krishna and Satyabhama as they're trying to leave with the tree, right? So again, this is Indra, and you watch out for this with Jeshtha Nakshatra, is not to be grateful or not to be indebted, not to feel indebted. You could give Krishna the tree. You could have gave Satyabhama the tree, said, thanks for killing Narakasura and bringing back my mom's earrings and my umbrella. Here's the tree. Take it if you want it. But instead of that, he just felt insulted and forgot that Krishna had just saved him. So he had a huge battle against Krishna, but it was hopeless because Krishna would decimate any kind of weapon that Indra would throw at him. Krishna would just disarm it. And so finally Indra was completely humiliated, and then Krishna forced him to apologize to his wife Satyabhama. So that's a great story. And then Indra says, please go ahead, take the tree. So that also shows you how stupid pride is, right? Why wouldn't Indra, if Indra was smart, if we had more mastery over this Jeshtha force and Viśākhā force that makes us so dedicated to possessing things, then we would just realize, first of all, we could give this away. But instead, because we're so obsessed with possessing things like Viśākhā and being the best like Jeshtha, then we first make an ass out of ourselves, and then we give away the thing that we could have just given away in the beginning. Just be humble in the beginning and avoid making an ass out of yourself. So in the end, Indra finally has to say, okay, here's the tree, take it. And then you know what Krishna said? Krishna said, no, that's okay. That's okay. We don't need the tree. Actually, let's let the tree stay here. I don't know. That's very, very funny. And then Indra says, no, you got to take it. And then Krishna says, okay, I'll take it. I'll take it, but just for as long as I am on earth. The tree will stay there in my court, in Dwarka. But after I depart from earth, this tree will go back to you. So that's how that tree was called Parijata, I think. And that's how it was for some time present on the earth. Okay? So that's that story. And I just want to finish up with this bit so we're finished with Indra's section. So all the stories about Indra are really portraying the negative side of life, right? He's a cheater, he's a womanizer, he's an usurper, he's an opportunist, he's jealous, he's envious, right? So what's good about him? So, and why is he the king of heaven? That may baffle you. And why is he a god? Shouldn't a god be good, noble, and honorable? Well, basically Indra is good. This is also the complex part, is that good people also have flaws. Why is Indra basically good? Because basically Indra is trying to uphold law and order in the universe. But his flaw is that he wants to be the boss, upholding it. So he's got a lot of pride in it, but basically he's trying to do a good thing. That's why he's categorized with the good folks, because he's trying to contribute. But that doesn't, just because you're a good person doesn't mean you don't have flaws. That's one of the important things about understanding the gods, the way that the Vedas portray them. Or any pre-Disney, pre-Christian, pre-Disney portrayal of gods is going to show them with flaws. Okay. What we would identify as flaws, at least, right? So the fact that the Vedas portray the king of the gods as such a flawed and faulty person is instructive. So first of all, it's instructive to know that flaws are okay. Everybody has flaws, even when you're a god. Accept your flaws, deal with them, don't hide them. And the second thing is, it's an important message to help us realize that people in positions of power, like that's Indra, he's the guy who's in position of power, and that's Jeshtha, it's powerful. That's the good thing about Jeshtha Nakshatra, is you can get big. You can get powerful. Viśākhā, you can go far. You can accomplish a lot. But the thing is, you got to realize that people who are in positions of power are seldom those who actually deserve it. It usually the people who are in power, like Donald Trump, right? We didn't mention in this analysis that it's Munish Jeshtha. Right? It's not that he deserves it, but it's that he went out and grabbed it and got it. So most often those who are in power are simply the most ruthless, manipulative, and opportunistic people in the world. And that's what the Vedas are trying to teach you by these stories about Indra, is not to be gullible and naive and think that just because a person is the most famous person, the most famous astrologer is not the best astrologer. The most famous priest or guru or teacher is not the most sincere. Because the most sincere of any of these things is not really advertising themselves as much as it takes to be the best. And the people who are the best got there because they really want to be the best, and that is a flaw. So what the Vedas are really trying to do is to help wake us up to the true nature of politicians and politics and power. And alert you, don't be naive about these people. And they do it with Indra, and they do it with tons of stories of kings, sometimes with good, contrasting a good king like Ram, or sometimes just showing you the bad kings and showing you what they do. But that's the deal with Indra. It's not a mistake that all these stories show Indra's bad side. I'm not being weird with you. Some people are like saying, not only am I against tropical, but I'm also against Indra. I'm like the capital blasphemer. I'm just reading you the stories from the Vedas and the Puranas. I'm not saying that Indra's a bad guy. He's a good guy. But he's a good guy with a lot of flaws. Okay? All right, folks, I will take a question. One question, and then I gotta go. Deal with Indra. I have an Indra event happening today where I have to deal with kings and other kinds of annoying shit. So what do we got? I don't use KP system. Largatha. That's right. That's Largatha was the name of it. Largatha is like the Nordic counterpart of Satyabhama. If you want to know the nature of Satyabhama, who is Radha? In Vrindavan, Satyabhama is Radha. And if you want to know her personality, she's Satyabhama in Dwarka, and the way that her archetype is expressed in Nordic culture, it's Largatha. I mean, I'm just telling you, that's my 2 cents on Largatha. You got anything else? Any question about Indra or anything like that? Does Indra being exiled so often reflect the 8th house nature of Scorpio? Why would you connect Indra with Scorpio? Unless you believe in a sidereal nakshatra. Because then you're going to say Jeshtha is always in Scorpio. But I don't, as you probably check the rest of the videos on my channel for why I don't subscribe to that theory. So don't mix up Indra with Scorpio. Yeah, don't mix up Indra with Scorpio. Scorpio is Scorpio because it's Mars in water. Right? It's Mars in water trying to be fixed. So it's a very difficult, convoluted, but deep sign. All right, guys. I shall be off. Thank you for spending this time with me. And I'll see you soon for all this rest of this cool stuff that I'm doing lately on my channel. Have a great everything. Thanks so much.